Here, tradition meant silence. Umutowe Autonomous Community, Olokoro, Umuahia South Abia State. Population is approximately 7,000 people.
Over 40% of them are women.
Not one had ever sat beside the Eze until now. For decades, women were barred from leadership. Rape cases were silenced. In family compounds, widows were stripped of dignity after burying their husbands. Meanwhile, adolescent boys in southeast Nigeria face a growing crisis of substance abuse, with studies showing up to 40% engaging in drug misuse. But in the heart of this tradition-bound land, one man has begun to pull down walls.
That time, I didn't her post like PG because of a feeling now, one in which I go on nobody. Well, I feel I'm feeling happy because of it's a nice privilege in America, but so when you have some to contribute like this, but they were a word of encouragement in your nation. You know, to be a leader is not an easy. Oh, in dog game meta, we're in the log game meta. So, yeah, the shike, and you will on amen. 2023, February, 13th of April. Before you want that is about yes, even one area. On Abia here now, they let that in. One bad blood and one eye you make. We had the corner you come in here, even the demi quadruple with the crying. I'm not gonna be better till the nature better. So I'm gonna have a good time. So I'm gonna let them.
Because we have Olokoro vigilante. Most times, any art na the game and the maybe mine. And over had be Olokoro vigilante. And I was about discipline.
Okay, and though is in the cabinet here may establish a local vigilante. Okay.
Recent reforms across southeast Nigeria reflect a growing shift towards inclusive traditional governance. In Enugu State, 133 women have been appointed to traditional rulers' cabinet across its 450 autonomous communities.
I was made the traditional ruler of Umutowe Autonomous Community in 2011. When I became the traditional ruler, there was no contest. I didn't have anybody to contest with it. It was a peaceful thing we did, both at the presentation, both at the staff of office by the governor of Abia State then. I was a TALG. The first thing we did, me and my cabinet, was to organize a crusade. We did a crusade, and after the crusade, we now did what we called Widows Program. In that Widows Program, we called out about 3 women that spoke. Fortunately, well, not so unfortunately, 2 of them, they were widows. One is late, Dr. Rosette Leme. She spoke to the women. The other one, Mrs. Ndoboka, also spoke. And then Ugeze, my wife, spoke. We tried to equip women. We tried to assist them so that you don't say my husband is late, therefore I will sit at home. I will not be doing anything. No. You can turn 10 naira to be 100 naira. But that was the area my wife took because she's also a businesswoman.
According to African Examiner, May 2024, a move echoing a pre-colonial Igbo systems of dual authority, where women held power through institutions like the Omo, Umuada, and women's assemblies. In neighboring Abia State, 539 recognized traditional rulers currently oversee autonomous communities out of approximately 771, with Eze Onwuka Umutowe being one of.
Yeah, I've faced many oppositions. I've faced oppositions particularly in the area of and telling them that a woman has the right to partake in the sharing of the father's land. So you have that opposition. That one is more serious opposition. They said our forefathers' land has nothing to do with women. That is only the men. But I've been able to convince the people that are enlightened in my community, and also with the law of from the government. So I had a very serious position.
In partnership with civil society and educational institutions like WABMA, the Eze's reforms are now being documented and studied. By bringing women into the Palace Council, Eze G.C. Onwuka ended the tradition of male-only leadership that had lasted for generations. In Umutowe, tradition gave way not to weakness, but to fairness and justice.
My name is Ms. Ngozi. I'm the vice PG before our PG resigned. Then I take over. That time, I didn't have post like PG because of a feeling now, in which I go on over. Our people selected me because we rotated from village to village. Because there is two villages that makes this community, Amazon and the Etaja. So I'm from Etaja, while the main page that time was Amazon. So I'm vicing as well, I feel I'm feeling happy because of it's a nice privilege in America. So when I'm trying to contribute like this, but like August meeting we hosted last year with the help of our Onyeze, he helped us a lot because I don't know where to start to organize that August meeting. Our Onyeze, Niranyaka, Ozo Poriche, my contacts, the contacts, Mandela Nalabeke, everywhere. So, Onyeze as the fatherly, I make the August meeting of last year, village August meeting. They were a word of encouragement in Onyeze. You know, to be a leader is not an easy. We're in the meta. So, ye the shike, na ihe ọwụla na-eme. Ye gekpala side talk. So, ndị nke ọ na-eme ọmacha ọ dị mma, ye mere ya gawa n'ihu. Ọ ga-emetacha mmadụ dum because when Jesus Christ na onwe ya bịara metaghị ndị mmadụ. Thank you.
Under his leadership between 2021 and 2024, the number of rape cases significantly reduced, a direct result of his effort in beefing up the local vigilante, the first such reduction in the community's history.
Ahamo ezichi happiness ekeleme. Nwoye tajumeli Olokoro.
Amasịkwa ka mma ama m na a na-anụcha because a na-asị na ụmụ nwaanyị ha bute anyị enweghị ike sometimes because of culture and tradition a na-emegbu ụmụ nwaanyị emegbu. O nwere ihe eze na-emegasị eji akwụsị mmegbu a na-emegbu ụmụ nwaanyị ma ịwakpo ha n'ike ma widowhood practices, ngasị alachara nwaanyị isi ma a sịkwa emere nke mgbe di ya ma a na-ara ya na ya ma a chụpụrụ ya n'obodo. O nwere ihe ndị eze na-emegasị to stop ihe ndị a na-eme n'obodo.
Because we have Olokoro vigilante. Most times any art na the game and ebe ụmụ nwaanyị nọ. A na-akpọga ha ti ha n'ebe Olokoro vigilante. And ọzọ ebe ahụ discipline ha. Okay.
And Eze na ndị cabinet ya mere establish Olokoro vigilante. Okay. Thank you so much. O nwere ihe nwere iji kene Eze ma okwu mgbamume ị nwere ebe ọ nọ for him?
Okay, m ga-asị ya Eze G.C Onwuka ya jishi ike rụọ ọrụ ọma niile ọ na-arụ ọkwa Chineke ga-agbanye ume.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Drug abuse, one of the silent feelers of sexual and gender-based violence, has met resistance not just from the police, but from the throne. Drug-related arrests have dropped by 40% in Umutowe since the start of the King's Youth Outreach Program.
Ahambo Eric Chimezie Obunna, Amonye Amebu Itaja Olokoro, Umuahia South. Nezia ọ na-ebinata n'ike na ebube dịka onye eze na-agba mbọ ịhụ na ya bụ ịtụ mgbere ọgwụ ike na ịṅụ ọgwụ ike ma ọ bụ ihe ndị dị aṅa dị otu ahụ belatara. O tinyekwala iwu ndị dị iche iche dịka iti iwu nke obodo ma itikwa ndị otu task force dị iche iche ka nwee ike na-agagharị n'obodo na-achịchasị ndị na-eme ụdịka ihe ndị ahụ dịka otu anyị si nọrọ ugbu a ụdịka ihe ndị wetara anyị nụtara maka ya n'ogige anyị. N'ezie ọ na-ebinata n'ike na ebube dịka onye eze na-agba mbọ ịhụ na ya bụ ịtụ mgbere ọgwụ ike na ịṅụ ọgwụ ike ma ọ bụ ihe ndị dị aṅa dị otu ahụ belatara. O tinyekwala iwu ndị dị iche iche dịka iti iwu nke obodo ma itikwa ndị otu task force dị iche iche ka nwee ike na-agagharị n'obodo na-achịchasị ndị na-eme ụdịka ihe ndị ahụ dịka otu anyị si nọrọ ugbu a ụdịka ihe ndị wetara anyị nụtara maka ya n'ogige anyị.
The specific initiative you have introduced to our young people to avoid drug abuse. Anyway, you have rightly said, given some instances where you invited the Drug Enforcement Agency. So, what are the other initiatives do you hope to take?
You see, at times in our place, Nigeria is when I leave my place. In this Nigeria, there are things we do. We wait till when an issue starts happening. Then we start combating. There are things we do right from the onset. When a child is coming up, the way you handle it. I earlier said that we try to have those people that have nobody to help them. We help them by paying their trade money. Where they are learning trade. We paid those that cannot take school cert. A child can from that point, because he was not able to pay his something, join back. And when you help them at that stage, you eliminate them going to that side. Also, is this education I told you, I invited the NDLA. NDLA talked to them. Those of them that are not into drug will know the risk, danger in going to drug. Those of them that are into drug, we know that actually I'm exposing myself to risk. So the earlier I leave it, the better for me and my future. So we discovered that through this education and also acting positively. Unfortunately, my community, we don't have money to start buying something for them, probably giving them a tricycle to help them, and we don't have that kind of money. So the one we have, we'll try to capitalize it. We can educate them, we can talk to them. And also we have invited the youth. I think my next meeting, we have one youth in our cabinet. My next meeting, we are going to have about 3 of them in the cabinet. So where we are now, whatever we agreed in the cabinet, they will go and tell their other fellow youth people so that they can also implement it.
Harmful widowhood practices have been abolished, with traditional rulers from neighboring communities now visiting Umutowe to learn. A quiet revolution may be taking root across Abia State. The cultural dignity is gradually being reclaimed, one woman at a time.
No, 2023, February, the year 13th of April. Before young water is born, we dream about the book. As I see me here now, the mongo in the number Lala Mejido. But a woman in my gun above, now manageable. We don't want her from that school. So you see, just managing. You have about my stature. Or 2 1 they cannot. But due to condition, Meziraga money. Pass it out.
You know, I think I enjoy okay, give you. Obodosi Bakara was saying, Maka.
No, when I look on a group meeting, we are going to a particular now. We cannot 10,000 naira. So, anyhow.
Onwere widowhood rights ndị obodo a mere gị subject as in ha mere gị ime like o nwere ebe na-anụ na asị nwaanyị kpụọ isi afọ ọsọ ya kpụọ isi nwaanyị ka ha mere gị onwere tradition specific tradition ha say ị ga-emerịrị ị ga-follow before ma mgbe di gị nwụrụ ma after di gị nwụrụ. Okay. Can you explain otu eze she may intervene in anything gbasara oge adịghị nwụrụ? Nwere any intervention we nwetara n'aka onye eze?
Yes, even mgbe ọ na-arịa ọ na-abịa ihe na-abịa eleta di m. Onwe mgbe ọbụla ọbụla na ọ naghị enye m ego onye ya bịakwa na-enyekwa m ihe oriri even mgbe di m nwekwara ọ bịakwara wetakwara ya ego ọ nọkwa na the burial till the nature burial. So mụ na ha dị good time, so ọ na-eleta m.
Ndewo.
But I still want to know if, for example, in some places, you have rightly said it, some traditional practices, widowhood practices, like making the woman to be a cockroach in the morning, a cockroach that will wake up the community people very early. She will come out in the community and start crying, and they will cause her to sit on the bed floor. They wash the body of the dead husband to make her to prove her innocence, and she wasn't the one that killed the husband. And
You don't try that. You don't try that. No, you can never try it.
in your community,
Yes, if you do, we'll arrest you up. We'll pick you up. You can't do that.
that's a good one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
From the palace to the people, he builds a community of conscience where voices are heard and justice is pursued. In a place where silence once reigned, one king chose to speak out. Eze G.C. Onwuka is not changing tradition but restoring his true spirit.
What gives you the hope that change is truly taking root? There is a change in the community.
You see, those things we have been practicing before, knowingly or unknowingly, we no longer practice them now. You say that progressive something. A woman would die, like one of my chiefs. The man is in the mortuary now. The wife has been moving around for her business. Till the day they will bury the man. If they bury the man, 2 days, just mark of respect for the dead, not even whether you're a man or a woman. The lady will stay at home, receive her visitors, and the next 3-4 days, she will go around doing what she's doing. Is playing a very big role. And also, we have earlier been talking about our girls going to school. Because when they go to school, they are being empowered. So when they're empowered, they can come up and speak out. So some of them that are able to go to school, they are now speaking out in their families. And definitely, it will come to since they are coming to the cabinet, find out they are having a better ground to speak. So we are having the changes is manifesting in its own. We are seeing them.
Wow.
Most of these things, they lack education. We try to educate them to know that these things we are doing is against the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So these are the areas we are going. Another area that is creating problem, that is causing all these sexual gender-based violence is drug abuse. When you discover any place they are, it's a center for Indian hemp smoking, all these, there are other drugs and all that, they know what they call them. You have to dismantle them, either by calling the law enforcement agency, or by the community can also call the family and say, this thing we know is happening here. Either you dismantle it, either you stop it, or we will now report it to the government.
For every daughter who now dares to dream, for every son choosing a better way, for a land learning to heal and grow, this is what true leadership looks like.
Umutowe, unbeatable, unbeatable. Umutowe.